You're not gaining weight because you're eating too much or moving too little. If you have PCOS, your body is literally programmed to store fat differently than someone without it, even when you're doing everything, quote, right. And once you understand why, the whole weight loss conversation starts to make a lot more sense. I want to walk you through what's actually happening in your body, because most of the advice out there treats PCOS weight gain like it's a willpower problem. It's not. It's a hormone and insulin problem, and there are a few specific mechanisms driving it that almost nobody explains clearly. Let's start with the biggest one because it surprises most people: insulin resistance. Up to the majority of women with PCOS have some degree of insulin resistance, even if they're not overweight, and even if their blood sugar looks quote-unquote normal on a standard test. Here's what that actually means. Insulin's job is to shuttle sugar from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. When your cells become resistant to insulin, your pancreas compensates by pumping out more and more of it to get the job done. So now you've got chronically elevated insulin levels running through your body all day, every day. And insulin doesn't just manage blood sugar, it's also a fat storage hormone. High insulin tells your body to store fat, especially around your abdomen, and it makes it much harder to access stored fat for energy. So you could be eating the exact same way as a friend without PCOS, and your body will store more of it as fat, simply because your insulin levels are working against you instead of with you. This is why so many women with PCOS say things like, "I barely eat and I still can't lose weight." It's not an exaggeration. Their internal environment is genuinely different. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because that insulin problem creates a second issue. It drives up your androgens, things like testosterone. High insulin actually signals your ovaries to produce more androgens than they normally would. And elevated androgens do a few things that directly affect your weight. They shift fat storage toward your midsection, that stubborn belly fat so many women with PCOS talk about, the kind that shows up even when the rest of your body stays lean. They can also increase cravings, especially for sugar and refined carbs, because that combination of high insulin and androgens messes with your hunger signals and your brain's reward response to food. So it's not that you have less discipline than anyone else. Your body is chemically nudging you toward the exact foods that make the insulin resistance worse, creating this frustrating loop where the cravings and the weight gain keep feeding each other. The third piece is one almost nobody talks about, and it's chronic low-grade inflammation. Research suggests that PCOS is associated with a subtly inflamed internal state, even in women who don't feel sick or notice any obvious symptoms of it. This inflammation actually worsens insulin resistance. So you end up in this cycle. Insulin resistance drives inflammation, inflammation worsens insulin resistance, and round it goes. Inflammation can also affect your thyroid function and your cortisol response, which is why so many women with PCOS also deal with fatigue, brain fog, or feeling puffy and inflamed, even when their weight hasn't changed much. If you've ever felt like your body is working against you in ways you can't quite explain, this hidden inflammation is often a big part of that picture. And this connects to the fourth mechanism, which is the one most people have never even heard of: leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain, hey, we have enough energy stored, you can stop feeling hungry now. In PCOS, that signal often doesn't get through properly. Your brain thinks you're running low on fuel, even when you're not. So it keeps your hunger cranked up and your metabolism a little more conservative, holding on to fat as a protective measure. This is why restrictive dieting so often backfires for women with PCOS. When you drastically cut calories, your body, which already thinks it's running on empty, doubles down on holding on to fat stores. This is often why the more you restrict, the harder your body fights back. So when you put all of this together, insulin resistance driving fat storage, androgens shifting where that fat lands and fueling cravings, inflammation keeping the whole cycle spinning, and leptin resistance keeping your hunger and metabolism working against you, it becomes really clear why generic eat less, move more advice fails so many women with PCOS. It's not that the advice is completely wrong, it's that it's incomplete. It ignores the actual hormonal environment your body is operating in. Here's the part that actually matters, the part you can do something about. Because this isn't about willpower, it means the solution isn't more restriction or more punishment through exercise. It's about specifically targeting insulin sensitivity. That looks like prioritizing protein and fiber at meals to blunt blood sugar spikes, strength training to help your muscles use insulin more effectively, prioritizing sleep, because poor sleep directly worsens insulin resistance, and managing stress, since cortisol and insulin are closely linked. These are the levers that actually move the needle for a PCOS body, far more than simply eating less. I know how exhausting it is to feel like your body isn't responding the way it's supposed to, especially when you're trying so hard and not seeing the results everyone promises you. But understanding what's actually going on changes everything about how you approach this. You're not broken and you're not failing. Your body is running on a different set of rules, and once you work with those rules instead of against them, things start to shift. If this helped things click into place for you, I put together a free guide that breaks down exactly which foods and habits help with insulin resistance specifically for PCOS, plus a simple checklist you can start using today. I'll drop the link right below this video, so go grab that next, and I'll see you in the next one.